there have been a lot of drama going on inside PSO2 New Genesis over the last year or so, and of course, a lot is starting to pop up right now. We're not technically going to be talking about that today, but just know that is a thing. And of course, for anyone that might be wondering, did Sega actually comment on what is happening with that situation? Yes and no. Well, they did in Japan. But was it about this subject or something happening in Japan? I'm not for sure. But nonetheless, global PSO2 have said nothing for anyone that is wondering. But nonetheless, that is a whole nother a can of worm. Today, I'm going to be talking about why there is so much toxicity inside of the PSO community right now. Why is everyone turning against each other? And why is there plenty of content creators that are just walking away? But before we get into all that, welcome back to your number one stop for PSO2 New Genesis gameplay how-to, and I get ideals that I need to get out of my head for PSO2, and of course, we can't forget about all that jazz. So with that, let's jump into this, and let's discuss what exactly is happening right now when it comes to why is everyone just whipping each other apart inside of the PSO2 New Genesis community. So let's go ahead and just start this off right away here. And by stating about all the toxicity inside of PSO2, I know this is not exclusive to PSO2 by any means at all. There is plenty of toxics out there in other community. But the thing is, not only for PSO2, but it could also be translated to a lot of other games as well. When it comes to this situation, a lot of things have been happening and probably need a little bit of a refresh here since PSO2 originally came out in 2020. And during that time, don't get me wrong, stuff popped off, stuff happened. It always does. But let's be honest, during that time period, it was a little more calm and nowhere near as overblown as it is now. And honestly, the main reason I feel like a lot of stuff is getting any more traction now is mainly just because NGS, say what you want to say about NGS in global or in the US, but it is technically bigger than PSO2 here in America. Since, as we all know, there was an influx of players that may or may not still be around that came during the launch of NGS, since that did have a pretty big amount of people behind it. Some of the launch stuff kind of killed it for a lot. But nonetheless, the player base is bigger not only from that. Also, we got to keep in mind, PSO2 New Genesis is available on PlayStation. It's been a little over a year now since it came to PlayStation 4 and 5. And with that comes another big influx of players into the community, especially when it comes to the PS4 version. So in return, as you probably can imagine, there is a lot more people around, or at least semi-around from the social side, for New Genesis appeal to base game. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about some of the shortcomings that is honestly happening within the game itself and from Sega. So bear with me. It will all make sense in a moment, but when it comes to PSO2 New Genesis, Sega not exactly the bet when it comes to the global side. Like, don't get me wrong, we had Gwid that did as good a job as they could, and of course now we have been pretty much passed on at that point to just a marketing form out there doing most of the social work, might be Twitter, Facebook, anything in between on that. We have pretty much lost a face to the game itself. Like, don't get me wrong, we still have, of course, Hawaii, but Hawaii is very much more so on the Japanese side and mainly just the headline stream. I don't really see Hawaii really interacting with that many people outside of the headline stuff. Maybe I'm wrong on that, maybe because of the whole Japanese stuff. I'm just not seeing it. And then we, of course, have Dave, who, is around doing things, streaming every once in a while. But let's be honest, Dave, no matter how great Dave is, it's not exactly as front-facing as someone like G-Wiz was. So because of this, we are very much lacking a person for the PSO community to, I hate putting it like that because, once again, don't be a dick. Do not whack developer. Don't do none of that. Stop it. Stop it now if you ain't thinking about it. But with having a face in the community, as you probably can gather, went up would come up. Might it be not happy with the update? Maybe someone got banned. Whatever it might be that could cause some issues in the community. Obviously, most of that got torn directly toward GWiz, and any if it wasn't GWiz job at all, it still a main thing that the player base did. And once again, this is a lot of game, kind of torn a lot of hate to the PR slash community manager group. So without having the focus for the player base to kind of move a lot of hatred to, once again, I hate saying it, but let's be honest, it's sadly the truth, is at that point, it's very much for a large margin of the community. Does it feel like everyone is just gleaming into the void because Sega is not really commenting, not really talking with the community all that much? You might get a little bit here and there, like on the Discord channel, but nothing extremely like front-facing at all. So, of course, a lot of players are going to feel very frustrated, unheard, very upset with the game itself. And then we look at the community that is standing of the people who are extremely frustrated with the game or the community as a whole. And then we have the other side of the community that are very much the copium type, constantly hoping for the best, trying to see the best and everything. And no matter how many times Sega may or may not have kind of stepped over the fan base a little bit, especially in global, because let's be honest, in a lot of ways, the Elite coming across as pretty much we are the redhead stepchild for a Sega when it comes to New Genesis. And I have stated many times, if NGS shut down one day and they decide to make PSO3, Univort 2, whatever the next project might be, we will not be seeing it in the US at all. The only way we're going to see it is the same way we saw PSO in the West, which was, of course, Microsoft, or in the hypothetical being some other company putting down the money to actually get the game over here. Because we all know it wasn't going to happen if it wasn't for Microsoft originally with PSO2 and New Genesis. So that is something to keep in mind here as well. So with it very much not only not having a face, pretty much not communicating with the player base at all, and then also the whole feeling of we are just second-rate citizen upheld to Japan, because as we have stated many times, if Japan complain about something, it will probably get fit. If we complain about something, you might get lucky and maybe someone will look at it, maybe. So in return, that kind of built up a lot of hostility coming to Sega and the Void, to the copium people who had just decided to be excited, good, bad, whatever way you want to look at that. And then, of course, all the frustration that is happening from pretty much all of this. Because it's kind of hard to be excited when literally you can see everything around you burning to the ground. And, of course, someone over there just pretending the fire doesn't exist. Right or wrong, that is up to you to decide on where you fall on that whole discussion. But I personally feel like this is one of them cases that it kind of bleeding into why the toxicity is becoming more and more extreme as every waking moment inside of the community is concerned. Because let's be honest, if that all you seeing and all you feeling, what are you going to do at that point? You might say, yeah, just stop playing the game, go do something else. But let's be honest here, there is a large margin of people, which, let's be honest, most of the people that thought all this is very much so in that camp of not being able to stop playing PSO2 New Genesis. Might it be addiction, might it be they put too much money in, might it be they put too much time in, might it be whatever reason in between on that. And a lot of the players obviously feel trapped, because let's be honest, that's truly how it is. Not only for PSO, but any live service game, the breaking point for a large margin of people is not the most easiest thing to break free of. So in return, as you can see, idle hands here with the void is just amplifying everything. And in return, at that point, what do you have to turn to? And of course, obviously, with how everything is now, you would turn to social media and you turn to content creators like myself and Quopy, Chronos, name whoever you want to name here. And like, we technically become the closest thing to a fate we have for a lot of people. And when that is not the case, there is a culture screaming on, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and then very slowly just become a vacuum of either people picking fight with the people who are annoyed or just getting their opinion reinforced by other people. And that is honestly where a lot of the issue coming in here. Well, at that point, all you got to do is pretty much like lash out or join a mentality of a group who then are also lashing out towards certain people. Because let's be honest, a lot of the people who have spent the time, the money, the effort, the addiction, is it pretty much like a wounded animal just trying to fight off whatever it can. And that is literally what is happening here. And you might be wondering, like, how exactly do we end up fixing a lot of this? And how much of this is actually affecting the overall enjoyment of the normal person that might come into NGS? And in return, is it actually hurting the marketing or the promotion of the game to get new players in? And in some ways, I honestly think it does. But on other hands, I imagine the people coming in who are just being like, oh, they're free to play, grab it, download it. They are, let's be honest, probably the best case scenario here of the ones that could just hop in, play the game, never look at anything social related to it. But let's be honest, that it kind of falling in between. But as far like hoarding the actual new player base, like, yeah, I have seen so many people comment about like, oh, I was gonna play PSO, but and would point to whatever might be happening from Sega or the community as a whole, and that is something that feels like it's very much going to be hoarding the game and is hoarding the game. And really, the only way to really help with this is, of course, mainly from Sega point of view. Like, once again, Sega, as far like the bad actors, especially what's happening right now inside of the official content creator stuff, is like, yes, Sega obviously should probably step in now in a few ways to help get rid of bad actors. But at the same time, when it comes to the community as a whole, like, yes, you and everyone else, and just in general, Sega should be guiding the community in one way or another. Once again, it go back to my whole thing about training the player base. If you have heard me rant about that on my live streams, by the way, come watch them, 7 p.m. Central Standard, every single night over on twitch.tv/Maconn, by the way. We go into some rants over there. But nonetheless, the thing with Sega here, of course, Sega can only do so much. And a lot of stuff that could help here. First of all, being a little more transparent with the player base, being a little more open with the player base. Obviously, giving it a face would be nice, but at the same time, that is not just a job for anyone. Because let's be honest, not only does the whole thing come from being the community manager side of the deal or the PR side, but at the same time, you also got to deal with the player base. So that would very much take a very specific type of person to be able to do that job, especially long term, to build up the relationship with the community. And of course, with Sega just being completely silent on a lot of things, it is very much feed into the mentality of things are never going to get better. And if you be like, oh, but what about the headline stream? Telling, giving news and stuff. It's like, yes, the headline stream is nice, but the headline stream at the same time is very much, can easily, especially if you play PSO a lot or watch every single month, very much lean into a lot of repetitiveness with some good things every once in a while. But with that being said, of course, as we have seen with the Q&A, Sega have been a little backhandy at certain occasions toward the player base. So that is also something to keep in mind that can also light the file a little bit here. But honestly, it not exactly Sega job to keep toxicity away, but they would think, like I said, beyond being more vocal, more pleasant, more transparent, more involved, that honestly could help in a lot. There will always be drama, there will always be bad actors, but having something for the overall community to gravitate to or become invested in that will, in some way, to put it in point or blunt terms here, keep the player base distracted from the true like bad part. But when you are doing nothing but coming across as the player base of not caring, same content, and as a no face, is like a lot of imagination start kicking in and a lot of angles start blowing up to the top. And that is how we get what is happening right now. And to be honest, I don't think Sega really care all that much about fixing it, especially here in the West. Because at the way it going, especially with the way that PSO actually treats some of them content creators in general, is pretty, I get, super offhand or super like I get a better way to put it. Like your level, you get a method from every 6 months to a year, and most of the time, your worry is it any gonna be good news when you open that method. If you want a video all about that, I can make that as someone who was a official content creator for PSO2. We can go into that in a different video, could have a whole different discussion. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in hearing that, and we will get on that. But overall, here, the community stuff that is happening, once again, like, nothing gonna fix it, but there is stuff that can make it easier, but most of it involve Sega actually being there and being present in the life of a player base of beyond a headline stream once a month and maybe some offhand comments on the Discord channel. So that is just my opinion about why PSO is so toxic. And let me know below, what do you guys think? Is this a reason? Do you think it's something else? Do you think people are just dick to be dicks? Because let's be honest, that's going to be a thing no matter what. But hopefully they have put a little bit of enlightenment on what is happening here. And I imagine if you have played any other MMOs in the past or been a part of any community, you usually see it act up the most when the player base is not happy with the way the game is going itself. So it all like bleed down here on everybody, but that honestly will I fall in the discussion, and hopefully that will be something that will change. I'm not gonna hold my breath too hard here, but pretty much I feel like the ball just in Sega here, and if it's not gonna 100% fix it, but we can at least hope a little bit here. But that's just my opinion here, and I get with that, that's gonna go ahead and do it for me. I will be back tomorrow for any more of PSO2 New Genesis gameplay, how-to, rant, and whatever might cross our mind. So, to then, do the thumbs up, subscribe. If you want to become like all the wonderful folks here, be sure to check out patreon.com/Maconn, subscribing over on twitch.tv/TroyMaconn, and of course, hitting that wonderful join button here on YouTube. And with that, that's going to do it for me, and I will see you in the comments.